What do you do when Jesus tells you not to be anxious and you genuinely cannot stop being anxious? If you've lived with health anxiety or really any kind of persistent worry about your body, then you know exactly what I mean. You've probably read Matthew chapter 6. You've heard the words from Jesus when he said, "Do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body." And somewhere in the back of your mind, an unnerving accusation forms. I've heard that. I've tried that. Clearly, I'm not doing it right. Will I ever change? That kind of response is more common than we might think. And I want to suggest that it comes from a misreading of what Jesus is actually doing in that passage of Scripture. In this video, I'd like to help us reframe those words in a way that I hope will change how we hear them. Let's go to Matthew 6, verse 25. Jesus is in the middle of the Sermon on the Mount, and he says, "Do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on." Then he asks a rhetorical question. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? He points to the birds. He points to the lilies in a nearby field. And he notes that not one sparrow falls without the Father's knowledge and care, and that all of the hairs on your head are numbered, which is probably easier to count in your case than it is in mine. And then Jesus closes with verse 34. "Do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself." Most of us read this as a behavioral instruction. Stop worrying, which must mean that when we keep worrying, we have failed some spiritual test. But that is not what's happening here. Jesus is not putting forth a performance requirement. He is making a claim. He is saying, the Father who made your body is attentive to your body. The one who holds tomorrow already knows what tomorrow holds. Anxiety about our bodies is a form of emotional orphanhood. It's living as though no one is watching, no one is providing, and no one is there for us. It's living as if we're on our own. And Jesus is saying, you are not an orphan. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard spent much of his life trying to understand why we as human beings are so uniquely prone to anxiety. He concluded that anxiety is inseparable from the kind of creatures we are. In the concept of anxiety, he wrote this: "Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. He who has learned rightly to be anxious has learned the most important thing. Anxiety is our possibility, the alarming possibility of being able. The possibility of possibility is that which makes us anxious." What Kierkegaard saw is that anxiety is the shadow side of being a creature with consciousness and imagination. We can protect ourselves into a future that hasn't arrived. We can picture what might go wrong. No other creature does this. It's part of what it means to be human. And it is, as he argued, not simply a weakness to be overcome, but a signal pointing towards something else. Each of us is a creature made in God's image, and therefore made for more than we can currently grasp, straining at the edges of our current finite nature. Jesus does not scold this straining and struggling of ours. He addresses it with a specific claim about his Father, who is also our Father. You were not made to hold yourself together. You were made to be held. And the one who holds you is not an indifferent force or some distant, cold, uninvested administrator. He counts sparrows. He numbers hairs. He is described by Jesus as a father who knows what you need before you ask. Health anxiety at its root, or as some call it, hypochondria, is what happens when we take on a burden we were never designed to carry, the management of our own continuity. The body becomes like a machine we must keep running correctly. Every blip, a potential catastrophe. Every symptom, a verdict. We become the physician, the diagnostician, and the frightened patient all at once. And we were not built for any of those roles simultaneously. What Jesus is offering in Matthew chapter 6 is not a command for us to feel differently. It's an invitation to locate yourself differently. inside the care of a Father who is already present in the day that you're living, not just the one you're dreading. Tomorrow will be anxious for itself, Jesus says. Hear and receive his gentleness in this. He's not dismissing tomorrow, but he is saying tomorrow has its own provision and you don't have to carry it today. Do not be anxious is not a test that you will be graded on. It's a door that Jesus is opening to you. He is saying this. You don't have to live in that room anymore. The room where you're responsible for outcomes that you can't control, where the body is a threat instead of a gift, and where the future is a darkness you must illuminate on your own. That room is real. Many of us have spent years of our lives in it. But there is a door, and Jesus is that door. And what's on the other side is not the absence of fear, but the presence of a Father who already knows, already provides, and already holds what you're afraid to let go of. The invitation is to walk through, not perfectly, but right now, today, in this moment, to receive the day that you're actually in as the place where the Father has actually shown up. Jesus said it this way, I am with you always, even to the end of the age.